All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lionbolt Media. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top real estate professionals, gathering insight, inspiration, really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else, and what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Now, our very special guest and feature titan for today, I'm super excited about this, for episode 254, all the way from beautiful Michigan, none other than Curtis Shewell. Kurt, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on today, my friend. I cannot wait to dive in. Thanks for taking the time.
Well, you kidding me? Thanks, Greg. I mean, when you suggested that, hey, we get on to do a podcast, I was pretty excited. I mean, this is one of the top podcasts in the country. Obviously, in the real estate world, it's a big deal. So I'm pretty honored to be on your show, and I thank you guys so much for allowing me to be part of this. So thank you,
Kurt. It's an honor on our end, and again, just the amount of knowledge and information that you bring and share with the real estate world and community is insane. So I just can't wait to share it with the audience and really for them to get to know you as well along the way. So let's just dive into the series of questions, Kurt. But I want to start with your origin story. Really, what got you into the business? Where you're from? What's your life and progression up into your career today? So let's start there.
Wow, you're going deep. All right. It's people that know my story. They know how I got here, and it's different, right? It's about proximity. One of the things that I coach, I teach, and I train on is proximity, right? Proximity means nearness in space, nearness in time, and nearness in relationship. That's the definition of proximity. Well, if you're in the right people's space, you're going to start running on their time, because they typically run a much faster pace than we do. And then what will happen is they'll open up all the doors. So now you've got that relationship, and they'll open up doors to other relationships. And this is really where your business will thrive. And I don't care what industry you're in. Obviously, in the real estate industry, it's all about that. And one of the biggest mistakes we make is that we think the agent on the other side is our enemy. And it's like, are you nuts? That's the person that we're working with. That's our business partner, if you will, on every transaction. You have to work with the agent on the other side. So when you learn this and you stop treating agents as the enemy and start treating them as, this is who I need to make sure I'm friends with, because I need these people in my world so I can put deals together with these people, then you'll find that your whole business will shift and change, and you'll start selling a lot more homes. You'll help a lot more people. Life will change. So that's what you're looking for. So the way I got into real estate kind of comes from that. It's that proximity thing, right? So what the real deal was if you have a little music in the background where you have our Secret Santa going on in here, and it gets a little crazy out there. So I apologize.
Good. No, Kurt, it's live. This is what it's all about. Yeah, so no worries at all.
So, all right. So the way I got into real estate was I had no intention of being in real estate, right? And it was not something I grew up going, oh my God, if I could be a real estate agent, that would be my lifelong dream. Real estate was never on my radar. It was something I never really wanted to do. I had friends that were in real estate. They were really good at it. One of my best friends sold all the houses I ever had. I mean, he was always my agent. Wow. And I never thought twice about being in it. I was in sales. I was always in sales, but real estate wasn't even on my radar. When I'm married, I have a beautiful wife. I've got 5 kids. So I've been very blessed in a lot of great ways like that. So it's very important that part's, my story. That's who I am, and that's what I'm about. And it doesn't mean I was always the best at any of those things, right? But at the same time, I think all of us have those trials and tribulations. So the great news is, what I was able to do is to find an opening, an opportunity at the lowest point. So when bad things happen to you, and everybody's got a story, right? And this one's mine. But when bad things happen to you, you have to keep moving forward, right? It's the old adage, if you step in a pile of crap, you need to get out of the crap real quick. Right?
Well said.
People, you fell into a pile of manure, and you always come out smelling like a rose. That's because I don't like to lay around and wallow in manure, right? Let's get out of that. So, right, let's keep moving quickly to get out of that. I don't want that stink on me. Sure. And doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to you. It happens to all of us. So I have 5 kids, boy, girl, and my oldest daughter was 8 years old. She got sick, like sick. She had cancer. So she had tumors in her brain and her spinal fluid. So it was all that kind of sick. So real sick. Wow. And so we went into a whole different mode. I was a regional vice president at Honeywell. So that's what I did for a living. I had a good living. I was making some pretty good coin, making a couple $100,000 a year, feeling pretty good about ourselves. We had stock, we had company car, we had expense accounts, we had really cool stuff. So we lived in a great scenario. My daughter gets sick. We built this, we live in a Pulte house, and we built this Pulte home, and my daughter gets sick. And I immediately have to go into this whole change mode to figure out, how do we find a miracle cure for her? So
Wow.
it was in the miracle hunting business at that point. They had said, it's going to end badly. And I was like, well, that's not okay. So we're going to have to keep looking for a better answer than that. So you start going to all these hospitals in St. Jude's and, Children's here in Detroit, and then Children's LA Research and Johns Hopkins. And you start going to these places and you start looking for all these answers. We even did a study out of Harvard where we tried some different stuff, and they did the stem cell thing out of a scientist in Germany that worked out of Children's LA Research. And, you're doing a lot of these things. You're crossing, the country trying to find this cure. Well, I took a leave of absence from my job, so I no longer had that. I had that position for 6 months. They give you a phenomenal company. They were terrific to me, but 6 months was gone in a blink of an eye. Yeah. And I hadn't been paid. I took a leave of absence, but now at the end of that, they're like, "Are you coming back or are you resigning?" And my job involved, I handled the top 10 accounts in the country for our division. Wow. And my job was to be on the road basically 2 weeks of the month. Right. Okay. So bouncing because none of my accounts were in Michigan. So I had to go to these accounts. Well, in doing that, I couldn't be gone because I needed to, at a phone call's notice, be at a hospital. Right. She had 5 surgeries, 4 brain surgeries, 1 other surgery throughout her trials and tribulations. So she fought it for three incredible years. She's amazing. And then finally she went to heaven. Well, during that time, at the 6-month mark, I had to decide, what am I going to do? Well, the only thing that mattered was trying to find a miracle cure. So I resigned and continued with no income. And I thought we had enough saved up. And whatever you think you have money, you don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Right? My oldest son was in college. So he's going to college in California. And my second son, he was in high school, about to graduate. And then I've got Stephanie, who was sick. And then I've got Savannah and I've got Sydney, who are young girls, right? So we're trying to figure all this out. And my wife, God bless her, right, trying to keep all this stuff going. So so you run out of money, right? And after about 11 months without a job, I ran out of money.
Yeah.
And you need money to make all the stupid stuff go away, right? So I always say to people, when you have problems, I ask people in rooms I speak in front of on stage, and I'll, raise your hand if you have problems. Everybody raises their hand. I say, well, do you have problems or do you have financial issues? And they kind of look at you. So the question is, if you had enough money, does it make those problems go away? And most people raise their hand and say, yes. Only a few people keep their hand up and go, no, I have real problems. This was a real problem, right? Money couldn't make this go away. The problem with that was I'm focused on that major problem, but all these other ones compound because you still have all these other things happening and going on, and you need money to make these things go away. Well, they don't go away, right? If you don't have the money, they just fester, they become bigger problems. So we had a lot of problems. And what I was looking for at that point was we were broke, and I had everybody and their brother coming after me for money. So it was, I started praying for a miracle job, right? So I needed a miracle cure. Now I need a miracle job. It's like, holy smokes, boy, I need some miracles, right? So I was a lot of praying, right? We were doing a lot of talking and walking with God. So so you have to focus on what matters, but you also have to pay attention to these other things that are not easy to do, right? Well, that's the key, right? Because you can only focus on one thing at a time. Well, I multitask. No, I juggled a lot of stuff, right? But I can only focus on one at a time. So you've got to be heavily focused on the real problem, but you've got to pay attention to what's going on. And that's really a key component. So I needed a miracle job. And at the end of the day, to make this long story go longer, what ended up happening was these guys showed up at my door one day from a charity, and they just said, hi, we're part of this charity, and we got your name given to us anonymously, and we'd like to help you. Maybe we can pay a bill or two. He said, could we see your bills? I said, oh, absolutely. I had a milk crate, and I brought it out and set it on the table. And then I went back in the room, and they're like, are these the bill? I go, no, I got more. And I took a second milk crate, put it on the table. Like,
wow, Kurt.
You gotta be kidding. I said, now we have to keep all this organized. And my wife, like I said, she was just pulling her hair out trying to figure out how do we do this stuff. And so I was going through with them, and they're like, how do we help you? I said, you can't. Like, well, we have to do something. Let us pay a bill. I said, you can. I said, it's not that I don't want your money. He said, the problem is if you pay a bill, you're going to give me 2 weeks reprieve, and I'm still 2 more months behind. It doesn't change anything. In 10 days, I'm right where I was before you walked in my door, and you wasted the money. It didn't change anything. I'm sure you could use that for somebody that'll make the difference. I said, unfortunately, I'm just too far underwater. And they said, well, we can't leave and not do something for you. And I said, well, as much as I appreciate it, I don't need your money. I need a miracle job. And they said, what's a miracle job? I said, a miracle job is something that I could sell. I always knew how to sell. I can sell. So it's got to be a sales job, but it has to be a huge ticket item with a massive price tag attached to it, a huge commission that comes with it. By the way, when I get a phone call and say, hey, you got to go down to St. Jude again and be there for 6 weeks, I got to literally take a phone call's notice, leave, hop on a flight and be gone with my daughter to go to do some stuff. And they said, well, okay. Then I said, oh, and by the way, when I'm gone, no matter how long that is, do me a favor, have somebody handle my stuff, close my deals, make sure you pay me, of course, because I need that. And then when I come back, whenever that is, welcome me with open arms and open the door for me and let me run right back in as if I didn't leave. And then if it happens later, be ready for. So that was, what I was up against. And the guy looked at me with a straight face, Greg, and he said, can you give me till tomorrow? And I was like, sure, I'll be right here. Like, what is this guy, crazy?
Yeah.
And the next day says, can you take a phone call? I said, yes. And his son called me, and his son was vice president of sales his name is Dave Balzazak. He was the vice president of sales for Pulte at the time. And he said, I know who you are, met your family, met your kids when you guys build your house thing. And he goes, oh my God, I know your story. I'm a cancer survivor myself. My dad's got this charity. And I'm like, wow. He says, I'm going to offer you a job. I said, doing what? I don't know how to build houses. He said, no, but I want you to sell them. You live in one, you've gone through the Pulte experience. You know how we do things. And I want you to come and sell houses for me, and I'll pay you, and I'll even up the commission a little bit and help you out, because I'm really want to help you. And I'm like, wow, how does this happen? I mean, this is how it happens, right? So I got my miracle job. I said, when do you want me to start? And he said, when do you want to start? I said, I'll be there in an hour. And he's like, oh, no, give me till tomorrow. Next day, I went in to sign my hiring papers, and I met the girl that worked in the office with me, and the couple walked in, and a lot of people know the story. They walked in, and she went up and welcome to Pulte, and here's our plat map, and this is our community, and blah, 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 and took them in the model. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I can do that. And then a couple minutes later, another couple walked in, she's in the model. So he's like, oh, let me get there. I said, well, here, let me take a swing at him. And he's like, are you serious? And I go, you're here. If I screw up, jump in. Right. So I didn't think it gave me that bad. Right. So I said, welcome to Pulte. This is our plat map. Here's our community. These are our houses. Where do you live now? And they said, oh, well, we're living in a hotel because we're we reload here. I took a job. I'm like, oh my God, you can't do that. I said, here's what's really cool. You need a house, and we sell houses. How crazy is that? I said, I think the moon and stars aligned. I think we were meant to meet each other. They laughed. He laughed. And so then I talked to him for a few. I said, listen, we've got some ones that are immediate occupancy. Let me show them. I took them out, showed them 3 of the houses that were spec homes, and I sold them. And I came back in about an hour after being out there with them. And I walked back in, and Dave looked at me, and Jennifer was standing there. And I said, hey, Dave, could you do me a favor? Ben and his family would love to buy this house right here called the Sterling model. Yeah, if you could go ahead and write this up for me, I'd appreciate that. Get the paperwork started. And they both looked at me and like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. So then Dave takes me in the house, and he goes, oh, okay. You seriously sold him a house like that? And I'm like, isn't it what I was supposed to do? That's not how this works. And I was like, I'll tell you what, it works for me. I'm in. This is me all day. If that's all I got to do, shit, I can sell a lot of these. And that's how I got into real estate.
Kurt, I love that story all the way up until that beginning crest of your career, and so many things that you shared. I just want to touch on. Obviously, real estate. So many people come from so many different walks, and it's never somebody's dream at a very young age to just be involved in real estate. And we all go down different paths. But I love your progression into your career and to why, and it's driven off of necessity and that miracle. And I can't thank you enough for sharing that moment in time, as life adjusted and changed. And I can't even imagine what you and the family have gone through, with your daughter and everything that's going on. And cancer has touched so many people's lives. It's not even funny. But you stuck with the process. You did what was necessary to keep moving on. And unfortunately, people let instances like that in their life break them. They change you, but they can also change you for the better. And Kurt, you've done so many incredible things in your life and your career up to this point, and I'm just so glad that you kept pressing forward. And I'm super glad that you took that opportunity at Pulte Group, and obviously taking you to today. So I want to capture that. So when you're there at Pulte Group, What does it look like from there to today? Because your career has been incredible thus far. So let's take it from, all right, you're at Pulte. What does it look like in progression to today in real estate?
Which was great. So, this is 2004 and life's great. And I started selling some houses. Life's good. People are getting homes. I'm making everybody happy. I kind of called myself the sleep doctor as a joke, and people kind of got knowing me for jokingly calling myself that, oh, he's the sleep doctor. He's the sleep doctor. And they were like, well, what does that mean? I said, well, because I help people sleep in their favorite homes at night, right?
Oh, good man.
So, you can put, the biggest necessity we have is shelter. So if you can put somebody in the right home, financially it helps them. Most people's financial interest is their home. So most people's whole balance of their retirement revolves around their home. So this is kind of the American dream, right? Home ownership's American dream. Well, today we look at it a little differently because there's so many things that have happened in the last 12, 15 years. But if you look at historically up to that point, that's the American dream. So home ownership is a big deal. And most people use that because they use it as a piggy bank, right? They use it to get HELOCs out, home equity loans, and take money out of your house in order to buy and purchase things or to move on in life or to pay for colleges and all kinds of things. So your home is the most important asset that you have. It's the largest asset that 99% of the population have. So it's very important, right? So I understood the value of it because I was about to lose mine, right? So I knew what that looked like. So I never forgot that. And even to this day, I never forget exactly where I came from and how it started. But what I did do, what I did change was the way I looked at things and looked at people. And instead of being a salesman, right? Because I was very salesy and I got accused of that from all my friends, family, everybody. You're the Kurt, he's the Kurt, be careful. He'll talk you right out of everything,
Oh, no.
So I always got that. And I think there's a lot of really good salespeople out there that get that bad rap because you're always selling. Well, the truth is, when people can't see the difference between when you're selling and you're not selling, then you lose your identity a little bit. And I think even in my own family and circle of people, that was happening because I was always I'm on. And you have to make sure that they realize I'm not selling anything to you, right? I'm here to help you. And when you shift and you go from selling to helping, it changes everything. And the number one thing, I was just on stage last week at that event downtown, and we had a huge audience. And my very first slide on the screen was it's a giant stop sign. It says stop selling, start helping. When you come to people from the position of help, it's life changing. If you come to them from the position of I'm going to sell you a house, everyone wants to buy, no one wants to be sold. So you got to stop selling. So if you want to sell more homes, you want to sell more of anything, stop selling. Start helping them, right? People only care about what matters to what? Them, right? Who's the most important person? Them, right? Who are their three favorite people? Me, myself, and I. That's their three favorite people. And when you lose sight of that and you actually think it's about you, and game over, you've lost. And it doesn't mean you can't still sell somebody. I mean, if I jam something down your throat, eventually you might go ahead and say, fine. But the reality is you get buyer's remorse. You don't feel good about it. You're not going to send me referrals. You're not going to say this was a great experience. So that's the change. So what that taught me during that time period of my life was I need to come at people from a position of help for real. And if I can help them, it's game over. I changed everything. They'll respect me. They'll admire me. They'll like me. And they'll trust me. And you have to build your trust with them. And people get confused with rapport is building trust. It's not, right? Rapport is not, oh my God, Greg, your kids play soccer, so do mine. Oh my God, I'm the soccer mom who makes the Rice Krispie treats that are this thick and all the kids love mine. I use more marshmallows. That's my secret. Don't tell anybody. Oh my God, I'm so great. My little Johnny's the greatest soccer player ever. I know yours is good, but my Johnny's like amazing because, I taught him at a young age and I make the treats and everybody loves me. And that's why they love my son, Johnny. It's like, oh my God, shoot me. Right?
Yep.
So that's not building rapport. Yeah, it was, Kurt. I told them I love cats and they have cats and I have cats. And oh my God. No, that is not building rapport. Right? Rapport is built on the value you bring them. The more value I provide from you, Greg, for you, the more value that I can give you, the more value you have in me. Right? So if that's the case, now I'm establishing this relationship built on the trust factor that I have value to you. Now you trust me. People buy from people they know, they like, they trust. We've all heard this.
Sure.
Well, the trust is the key, because think about it. In real estate, everybody on the planet, including you, knows a dozen real estate agents, right? You can just rattle them off. Aunt Josephine, Uncle Tom, Cousin Sal, they all sell real estate. Everybody's got a real estate license, right? Reality is not everybody sells real estate, right? Just they have license. And what happens is people know people that sell. Well, and they like them. They might even trust them so much. I go out of town. I leave my kids, my young children, in the hands of. I put my kids' lives in your hands, Greg, because I love you, trust you, know you. The problem is, I also know that you don't know how to sell real estate worth a damn. So I can't trust you with the largest asset I have to sell my house or to help you buy my house, because I need a real professional. I need somebody that I believe, that I trust, knows my best interest. Not you're my best friend. Does that make sense? And
big difference.
Yeah. And this is what happens in real estate. It's one of the only industries that if you don't use me as your agent, Greg, I now hate you. Like, wait, what? You've only sold 4 homes in your life. You're not a real estate agent. It's a big job, right? And then this happens, and people go, Kurt, just because I have a day job. No, I'm not saying that. You can sell real estate, have a lot of success, but understand where your value lies for them. And that's the difference, right? So when I learned that, which, you know, I always say, God gave me a little smack in the face on that one. So, hey, let me teach you a little something here, right? Learn and see. So when you say, you know, can that stuff break you? Oh, it certainly can. And I've seen a lot of people that it literally, it destroys them. They get frozen in time. They never move on. And life becomes very difficult, not only for them, for their other loved ones. And it's a very hard thing. So we have a charity in the memory of my daughter that we do, where I actually counsel these people through this, because you have to get through your first of everything. And then you have to learn, how do I move forward? Because you don't know how, right? Yeah. So that's how you do this. So in sales and in helping other people, it's no different. So now, again, this is what I was brought into my life, the shining light into, okay, Kurt, you got to become a much better person than you ever were before. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I was a bad guy. However, I became a much better guy, right? I became a better person, but it takes time. There's a progression to that, right? And my kids would probably tell you too, right? Not all of them like me all the time either, right? And that's probably a good thing to some extent.
Fair enough.
Right? So that's how this works. Well, so my progression from there was great. So I become this real estate agent, doing great. Pulte becomes a wonderful place for me. I'm making good money. We're back on our feet. And I meet some wonderful people, right? Bill Pulte himself, I met him several times. Wow. He came down, we sat together, we talked together, we prayed together. We had a really, really great little relationship. It was kind of neat. And then 2007 happens, and what happens at the end of 7? We go into 8 with a market crash, and now no one's selling houses. Builders are going out of business. They're mothballing their sites. Pulte's no different. All of a sudden, we went from 52 sales agents down to 8 of us left. Wow. That's not a good thing, right? So I'm a sales manager managing multiple locations, and yet there's only 8 of us left. And it's like, holy smokes, right? So during that problem, if you're in real estate, that was a horrible day. Yeah. Right? Because those next 3 years are very difficult. Well, the bigger the problem you solve, the more money you're going to make.
Well said.
Remember that, right? The bigger the problem, the more money you'll make if you solve it. So know people's problem. Well, people were stuck. They couldn't sell their house because the market said, nope, house isn't worth it anymore. So what we did was, me and a young guy that he was 27 at the time, that got cut in the first cuts at Pulte, came to me with an idea, and he said, what do you think of this? And my background being in, from Honeywell, regional vice president, distribution rep channels, I knew that stuff pretty well. And he said, what do you think of this idea? And my brain thinks a little weird. So I was kind of like, okay, I can see this, because again, necessity, right? What's the mother of all inventions? Necessity, right? Yep. So we had a necessity. We had a big problem here. Can't sell any houses. How are we going to sell them? These builders are going out of business. How do we keep them in business? These people are stuck. They can't sell their house. How do we sell their houses? These people need to move, but they can't. How do we help them? People losing their houses at the same time, right? Short sales, foreclosures were insane, right? The banks went under. So how do we fix that problem? So what we did was we came up with an idea. It was his idea. And he said, what if we didn't do a guaranteed buyout of these people's houses, what were commonplace at the time? What if we rented their house and then we helped them move here? I said, okay, well, we can take this further. Okay. So if we help them do that, who buys their houses? Well, we can't sell their house. How do we do it? Well, what we do, and what we came up with, and I'll just kind of get it in a nutshell, came up with the idea of, look, here's what we're going to do. People that are stuck, we're going to get them to buy with the builders who are going out of business. We're going to keep builders in business. They're going to buy the houses from the builders. We're going to sell them that. Then what we're going to do is take their existing house, and instead of them selling it, because they can't, they're upside down. So what we're going to do is we're going to rent their house as a corporate lease. And we're going to take all these people who are homeowners that are not renters. These are not lifetime renters. These are homeowners losing their houses, who have jobs, who have paychecks, that could afford $1,500 a month, but they can't afford $2,300 a month. That's why they're losing their house, right?
Yeah.
Everything bounced up on them. So let's take those people and let's put them in these houses on a lease option. Now they can purchase this house the day it comes back. So now we're solving their problem. They don't have to be disgraced, humiliated, lose all their confidence in themselves because they've lost their house. We're going to give them what's called a second lease on life. So I gave them a second lease on life, take them from their bad situation. Hey, great. I understand the bank wants your house. I'll help you short sale the house so the banks are happy with you. You're clean. But we're going to put you in one of these houses. Don't tell your friends you lost your house. Tell your friends that you moved, because you're going to go imano. I'm going to put you in another house just like what you're in. Yeah. However, with that payment, because these people didn't have an interest only that jacked up on. So these people's payment is where you were comfortable with and you can afford. Put you where you can afford, put you in this house. So I'm just a pass through on that for my clients. My clients are buying houses with the builders. The builders are going out of business, not anymore. Now we keep them in business. So we had typically 5 builders per market. So over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, we were able to sell over 4,000 homes in a 4-year period of time over the phone. I was selling homes over the phone, about 10 a day.
Unreal.
And built a team doing that. And then I helped builders in a lot of parts of the country. So we were in 17 states, 21 markets, 17 states at the time, that at the height of this whole thing. And then I moved on to my next progression, because we obviously made a lot of money doing that. That was a lot of fun. We did really well, and we solved a whole lot of people's problems.
Yeah, right? For sure.
So I had 4 people involved, and I solved all 4 of their problems all in one gig, and it really worked out great. And that got me a lot of notoriety. It got me, featured in builder magazines and things like that. It was kind of cool. And we did a really great thing, because we helped a lot of people, and these people were all in need, all of them. So it was really neat to be able to help people for real. The more you help people, the more money you make. Imagine that, right? For
sure. Yep.
So if you really want success in life, figure out how you can help a mass amount of people. The more people you help, the more money you'll make. You don't need more money. You need more people, right? Awesome. More people will bring you more money. So you have to understand the balance. And I learned that during those 2 trials and tribulations that were kind of back to back for me. I had a small reprieve for about 3 years, and it's like, right? So my daughter goes to heaven in 2007 and 2008. We're all going out of business. Like, holy smokes, a lot of stuff. So you just got to keep going through it. And I think each thing makes you a little bit stronger than the last thing. So when the market crash happened, as much as like, oh boy, what do we do for money? I've been through worse. That's how I looked at it. This isn't that bad. Let's just figure it out. So I didn't panic. I was like, let's figure it out. And then we did. And then we made more money helping more people than I'd ever made at that time in my life. So then from there, the progression was, during that period of time, I met a guy named Mark Z. So Mark Z in Michigan, he was the biggest game in town, right? The #1 team in the state. He's this big dog. He's the guy. He's also known as the real estate guy.
Okay.
So his posters, billboard, Mark Z, the real estate guy, So I got a phone call one day, and my secretary says, "Hey, you got a guy on the phone. He calls himself Mark Z, the real estate guy. Can you call himself that?" And I started laughing. I said, "Yeah." I said, "No kidding. He's really on the phone." She goes, "Yeah, I know. Imagine he calls himself that." I go, No, it's Mark Z. I go, "If that's really him, that's really cool. I know who he is. I've never met him, but yeah, put him through." So then I answer the phone. "Hi, this is Kurt." He says, "Kurt, Mark Z, the real estate guy." I go, "You actually call yourself that, dude. That's awesome." And he starts, "What?" And I'm like, "No, it's all good, man. Good to hear from you, Mark. What can I do for you?" And he said, "I want to meet with you. I need to pick your brain, try to figure out what you're doing. I hear you all the radio." Well, what we did was we took his radio spots. He was the #1 guy on radio locally. We took his radio spots because real estate agents weren't selling homes, right?
Yeah.
So he had to give up all the radio spots. We jumped on those, and we were doing our ads all over the place.
So smart, Kurt. So smart.
He was Mark Z, the real estate guy, right? With the Z guarantee. So we came up with, our slogan was the 6-year guarantee. So we will help you move out of your home, move into the new, you buy with the builders. We'll get these people in your house for up to 6 years. We'll guarantee that we take care of your existing house. Wow. So we kind of had a similar slogan. Again, we didn't, we just listened to what these guys were doing. That made sense. Like, okay, let's do it like that, because these guys know how to do it. So I didn't have to really learn it. I'm not people are like, "Man, that was a genius idea." Well, first, it wasn't my idea. I just went with it. Second, when I knew how to make it better, I knew how to build off of it. And then Next piece was, right, learn from the people that are doing it at the level you want to get to or beyond that level.
Absolutely.
You'll have your recipe for success. Success leaves clues. These are the clues. When we say that, this is what that means, right? So why wouldn't I just follow the path that's already laid out and stop trying to beat your chest and tell everybody how great you are? I didn't have to say anything. I just had to go do it. So again, I've been humbled several times in that period of time in my life that I didn't need to beat my chest on anything. And I didn't feel I had the right to either. But what I did understand was, again, proximity. Mark Z calls you, and he's the #1 guy in town, and says, I want to have lunch with you. You take that lunch.
For sure.
Don't meet the guy. We had nothing to be able to do business together with at that time. But my God, I get to have lunch with this guy who's at the top of the food chain in our industry. Why would I not do that? That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, I hit the jackpot talking to this guy. And I'm just picking his brain. He's picking mine. And I always thought it was amazing that he thought I had more value to him than he gave to me. And I'm like, I get all the value out of this. Right? And
love it.
So if you can humble yourself enough and get your ego out of the way, you'll be shocked at what you learn from the best people and how much they'll share with you. He never stopped sharing with me. That was some cool stuff.
You know, Kurt, as you mentioned that and story leading up to the next chapter of your career, it's just fascinating to me is all the ebbs and flows and the pivots that you made, the ideas and implementation, but it's not for lack of hard work. And like you were saying, you're not taking the credit, you're surrounding yourself with great people. You're really looking at it as to how to serve and as many people as possible. And that's why you've continued to have those successes. It's just a testament to who you are and your character in and of itself. But continue. I really am. I'm super pumped about, the next chapter with Mark Z. So let's go there.
So that's what opened the door up to Mark. We became friends, and I realized, wow, this guy who I thought was this big egomaniac guy all over the TV networks, the radio, billboard signs, every expressway. You can't drive 5 miles and not see this guy's mug looking at you, right? And I found out that, damn, he's a hell of a nice guy. He's a really good guy. He's an introverted guy. He's the opposite of exactly what I thought of him, based on what I saw, right? So once you get to know, don't judge the book by its cover. I get to meet the book, right? Read the book and find out. So when I got to meet him and read his book, I read into him, and he kept sharing and sharing. And it was amazing to me how many times he would tell me, Kurt, that's good. I don't know. And I always thought, well, you're supposed to act like you know everything, right? No, not at all. And one of the best things that he did was that gave me instant credibility with him that, wow, this guy's very credible. What he says, I believe. Because I realized over time, he doesn't know how to lie. He don't know how to bullshit. He don't know how to say that. He doesn't know how to BS. He doesn't know how to do anything, right? This guy is straightforward, straight to the point. Now, sometimes he's going to tell you something you ain't going to like. And I was like, this is great. So I started learning from this guy when we weren't even working together.
Wow.
But I learned so much from him during an 8-year stretch before we actually started working together. And what had happened was during that time, eventually we, our paths keep crossing over, but we kept in contact. And I thought he was such a great resource. And I kept throwing ideas at him, started a brokerage with one of those builders that I was selling all their houses for. And we built this brokerage together with this builder, and we built it and sold a first franchise model of it off and all this stuff. I did all that. And I was recruiting agents and building our brokerage, and my job was growth. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
Then I found that, man, I'm recruiting all these agents and building our brokerage. The problem is most of these agents aren't very good at selling homes. So I need to really start thinking through showing these guys how to sell homes. Well, I was very well trained from Pulte, right? And Bob Schultz, who was my first trainer. And then I went through the Sandler's training. Then I went through Floyd Wickman's training, right? Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm getting pretty versed in all these different trainings, and I'm kind of morphing them together, creating my own.
Yeah.
And again, I've invented nothing, but I've taken pieces of other people's stuff, put them together, and baked my own cake, right? The best chefs out there didn't start off by they knew how to cook the best steak. No, they learned from somebody else, and then they put their little touches to it. They changed it a little bit. They put their caramelization on it. They decided they slice it this way instead of that way, right? They prepare them, they season them different. So that's all I do, right? Is I've been very good. I always call myself as a good parrot, like the bird, right?
Love that.
I hear it, I internalize it, and then I say it back the way I would say it. And I ask them, does this make sense? And when I try that with trials with my agents, my team, my people, when I get the better responses, I know, okay, that's the right line. That's the way to communicate to them. is everybody communicates differently. There's no such thing as one size fits all.
Yeah.
I'm not everyone's flavor either, right? And the funny part is, Greg,
I don't know about that, Kurt. I don't know who wouldn't like that flavor, but
Greg, I'm telling you, when you start to become recognizable, when you start to, speak in enough stages, when you start working with the best of the best, when you get towards the top of the food chain,
sure,
it's a smaller group. And what happens is you start getting haters. And I'm like,
yeah.
how am I getting haters? And Mark told me, and he's been such a phenomenal resource for me. Because Mark told me once we started working together, he told me, you'll know you've made it when you've got haters, because they're going to start having an issue with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? And it's happening because they don't like your message because it's too true. It's too real. And they don't like it. Right? This is what's uncomfortable. I mean, I have this up on my board here, and I do different, training and presentations and stuff for agents. One of the biggest shifts in real estate is what's happening right now. Everything's going cloud-based. So cloud-based companies in the whole world, not just real estate, cloud-based companies have taken over everything. Well, every industry they're in, they are the biggest player in it, and they do it in about a 5-year span. So you don't know about them for a few years as they're building, and then over the course of once their model is proven, right? That the concept, right? Proof of concept. So you go from proof of concept, instantly, boom, within 3 to 5 years, you dominate, you become the biggest player in that arena. So whatever space they're in. Well, once cloud-based got into real estate, that was game over. But again, it's from necessity, right? Mother of all invention. Where did the first cloud-based real estate company come from? Well, it came from Glenn Sanford, who was a guy that worked at Keller Williams with Gary Keller, right? Yeah. This guy was a mega team guy because he knew how to generate leads, and he built, a huge team of people. Well, they were doing a ton of business because this guy understood how to generate leads using the internet. He's a very techie guy. What he was able to do is realize that when the market crashed, guess what? All the brokerages were drinking right down to nothing, right? They're empty, going belly up, going out of business, so on and so on. And what he realized was there was a huge need for people to work out of their homes or work remotely because nobody's coming to these offices, and most of these offices are closing. So that was the problem. So he said, I can't afford to keep it open. So I've got to figure out a way to do this and keep my business and my team going remotely. So he created the first cloud-based real estate company. And what I didn't realize when I was talking to Mark, when Mark said, hey, have you ever heard of this concept? And I said, to be honest with you, Mark, I really don't even get cloud-based. I don't know, right? I was around before the internet was invented. I don't know this stuff. I have a tough time using my phone and figuring out how to open an email. So he laughed at me, and he said, Kurt, you had a cloud-based business. I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, Kurt, where are you selling the homes all over the country from? I said, well, from here. He goes, how are you doing it? Well, I'd call, and then I'd do the internet, and I would just sign here, go there. I just directed it all right from here. He goes, right, from a cloud. You were the cloud, Kurt. I'm like, wait a minute. Explain that to me again. So he was explaining to me what I'd already done in the form of you were working as a cloud. And I didn't realize it that way. And then it started to make sense. I'm like, holy smokes, I think I get this, right? So even though I went in a different direction, he was desperately trying to figure out a way for us to work together for all those years. I opened this other brokerage with one of our builders and my friends, and we do this whole thing. And I'm recruiting these agents. Now I realize I got to train all these agents because most of them don't know how to sell homes.
Yep.
Flying back on that. And it was symbiotic. And you got to constantly train them and help them. And what I realized was most of the brokerages, I mean, to be totally honest, and I'm going to make some people mad, they suck at training, right? And there's a couple out there that, we have training. Well, the problem I have is they have a trainer and they pay them $40,000 a year. What are they going to train me to do? Make $40,000?
Right.
Not my cup of tea, but that's why there's such a space for bigger coaches and trainers. Now they charge a lot of money, and you don't have to pay a lot of money. You got to find somebody that resonates with you, that understands the boat you're in. And one of the things that, I've learned so much from Mark, but then Mark opens the door to the next group. Next thing you know, I join with Mark. We go to the EXP, this cloud company, because he gets me to realize I do know what cloud means when I didn't realize I knew what cloud was because I thought I didn't know. Well, now it makes sense to me. Again, parrot. I had to hear it, explain it to me. Let me repeat it back to you in the way my brain deciphers it. That's more relatable to the people that I talk to. And all of a sudden now I've got something, right? So all of a sudden I'm like, holy smokes. And then I meet Glenn Sanford, who's the guy that invented EXP, the cloud-based real estate brokerage. And talking to him, we were just out in Denver just a few weeks back doing an event out there. And I was privileged to be a host of that event, which was really cool with a couple others that are amazing people. And Glenn's there. So I interviewed Glenn and I said, Glenn, it's interesting. We've known each other for 4.5 years now. It's been really cool. It's been an amazing relationship. I can talk to you directly. I mean, it was insane. We got a billionaire on speed dial and talk to the guy. And, it's kind of a different world, right? Your mind just has to go around this stuff. And I'm talking to him because he's just a normal person. And I asked him, I said, what's the one thing? And he said, Kurt, the thing that is the coolest thing, and it's totally what I relate to because this is how I coach and train, is he said, Kurt, it's not about the top 1% people making all this money from, rev shares and all the stock, that you get from the company, all this good stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But he goes, those top 1%ers are going to be successful probably in anything they do, no matter what. They're going to be up there.
100%.
Those are those people, right? Doesn't matter what you do. You're going to have success in what you do.
Yep.
It's the other 99%, Kurt, that needs your help. That one extra sale a month, if you can help somebody sell one home a month, you'll change their life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can do that. I do that every day. Matter of fact, I can teach them how to do 2 a month. Imagine that. Use their life. Then I can teach them, which is what I've been taught and learned, on how to start building their business and take their business to that next level, right? So if I can help them with their business, and that again, I got I got to learn from School of Hard Knocks and have to change and do things. But I did that, running a brokerage, owning, being a partner of brokerage, opening, selling franchises, doing all that. But then partnered with Mark. Mark runs this mega team. Mm-hmm. Well, we had a mega team doing $100 million. Well, now we're a mega team doing $300 million. He had 14 agents. Now we've got 128 agents on the team. And I've got almost 3,000 agents nationwide.
Yeah.
That's a whole game change, right? This is where everything changes. So when Glenn said, Kurt, the thing that I'm most proud of is I help people generate money in real estate, not just from their next house, but they have the ability to build something that they own that brings them additional income. And when I can help somebody bring in an extra $5,000 a month, Kurt, because that is life-changing to these people.
Sure.
That makes me feel freaking phenomenal. And I'm like, you're so right, Glenn. I said, it's funny because I help agents across the country sell an extra home a month, just one extra home a month. Well, depending on what price point you're in, that's life-changing stuff. So,
well, Kurt, I want to jump in there because I think that it's important for everybody to know how many lives you have touched. You've helped so many, literally thousands of producers across the United States train, educate, grow, and scale their businesses. You are truly one of the best and brightest into that space, and it's phenomenal. And everything that you shared with your background is obviously leading up to that point. And this kind of begs the question in where everybody's tuning in. They want to learn from the Titans. They want to grow from the ones that have been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. And you've done that over and over again, Kurt. So this will lead into a great segment, you training and educating and looking back at your career through all the professionals that you've touched and engaged with. From the beginning of your career to today, if you could look back and pick or choose one or two things that you maybe implemented or engaged with that really saw growth, you really saw change. And I know you've dropped a ton of nuggets already, just peppered throughout this whole thing. But I just wanted to see if there was anything specific you wanted to touch on with that.
Yeah, if I could talk to my younger self and say, hey, dummy, right? 2 things, right? And I touched that at the beginning. One is take your ego and throw it to the side because you're not that great. There's always somebody bigger, better, faster, strong. Wow, so stop beating your chest. My dad taught me something as I grew up my whole life, and he said it to me repeatedly. He always said, Gordie Howe, be Gordie Howe. Well, Gordie Howe is the greatest hockey player of all time, and Wayne Gretzky, known as, right? So you got Mr. Hockey and the greatest, right? The great. So, all right, pick either one you want. But what do they both have in common? Neither one of them ever one time got in front of a microphone, got on a TV camera, got in front of a room of people, ever one time he said, I am the greatest. Though everybody asked him, are you the best hockey player that ever lived? And they would always say the same thing, right? Now, there's a lot of really great hockey players out there.
Yeah.
They would never say it. You know why? Because they didn't have to, because everybody else said it for them.
Well said.
My dad always said, be Gordie Howe, right? Back then, Wayne Gretzky wasn't playing yet. I'm older than Wayne Gretzky. So, right?
I love it.
So that's what my dad always said, be Gordie Howe. Be so good that everybody says how good you are. Don't you be the one to ever say it. Now, of course, you're young and dumb. You're beating your chest, telling everybody how great you are every time you do anything, right? So you kiss a pretty girl and you want to tell everybody about it because, hey, I kissed a pretty girl. Right? You don't want to beat your chest. So that would be the number one thing I would tell myself, right? To stay humbled and don't need God to smack you on the head and say, hey, dummy, put you here for purpose. Help other people. Be humble. help them, right? And I have my little gratitude stone. A lot of people, use these kinds of things, and I certainly do. And
very cool.
my daughter's out of her collection of little stones, right? I have it. I've had it so long, I actually put a dent in it. So it's dented. I dropped it once and I chipped it too, which that upset me. So I made sure, but I rub it so much that the sharp edge is so dull right now that I couldn't even cut anything with it. But it's that's how I carry this with me all the time. So it's in my pocket every day, no matter where I'm at. You ask me, pull it out, and I guarantee I have it on me. Because again, it's the gratitude. It's humble, right? Remember who you are. You're nobody that special. But if you help other people, then you become special to them. So that would be my number one tip, right? Pro tip, right?
So good. So good.
Yep. Number two is proximity creates leverage. Learn to leverage, right? Mark Z, again, I know I brought up Mark 30 times in here, but when you get a guy who's at that high in his game to literally grab your hand, walk you to the promised land, so let me show you each piece along the way. My God, what I've learned in those last 4.5 years working with Mark has been insane. But the opportunity had to be there, right? So it's a combination of things. Mark said, hey, I'm willing to leave this big, huge, giant company. He was at Keller forever, great company, right? A lot of our company, Glenn, came from Keller as well. Not that these are bad people, these are great people. But the market, the industry is changing, not the market. Market goes up and down. We sell houses, we don't. The rates are up, rates are down. Oh, that's crap, right? That's just the market. It's always a great time to buy. It's always a great time to sell, period. So get over all that other, the little voices in your head, the drunk monkey, get them off your shoulder because he's right, the wrong stuff. Remember, every problem there's a solution. The bigger the solution, the bigger the problem, the more people you help, the more money you make. It's that simple, right? Don't get caught up in the minutia. But the industry is changing because of the cloud-based stuff, right? So once I understood what that meant, being an old guy, non-techie, and I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. So then Mark's whole thing is, Kurt, you need to learn to leverage. That's how you run your business. And I'm like, okay. All right, I've run some businesses here. Teach me this again. Get me more specific. So what I would give to you and the Titan family and people watching is learning to leverage. It starts with the proximity, right? You've got to get in the room with the right people. They've got the power. They've got the leverage. They can open any door you need open, and they'll want to do it for you if they like you. How do you get them to like you? How do you get them to talk to you, right? Proximity, nearness in space, nearness in time, nearness in relationship. That's where the money's made, in the relationships, right? Build your network of people, vaster, broader network. I've got a massive network of some of the most incredible people on this planet. And I actually have a direct conversation and talk to these people, right? There are people, I never thought in my life I would be friends with a billionaire. Not only am I friends with one, I'm friends with 3. I have 3 billionaires on my phone who I interact with and talk to. These are billionaires. Like, what am I doing talking to billionaires? Right? What do they want to talk to me for? Because I actually bring value to the conversation with them because they bring massive value to me. So again, all I have to do, and all you have to do, all your listeners, if you want to learn how to do it, go up and say hello to them, introduce yourself to them, say, hey, I just wanted to say hello, Greg Fowler. I mean, I'm a big fan of yours. I think you're a pretty amazing person. Just want to say hi, shake your hand, just got to meet you. My name is Curtis Shewell. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, I would love to help you in any way I can. So please let me know. Nobody says this to them. Nobody asks them if they can help them. They go to them going, can you help me? I just need this. And if you could just this for me, and here's who I am. And let me tell you how great. Think about this. For me to walk up to a billionaire going, let me beat my chest out, great at. What an idiotic thing, right? When you say it, it sounds so silly.
It does.
All the time because they want to impress them. Don't impress them. Impress upon them that you think that they have massive value. And if there's anything I could do to give you value, I would relish the opportunity to help you or to do anything I could to help you and benefit you in any way. Nobody talks to these people like that. I promise you, you got their attention and they'll ask you a question. And now you just keep asking questions because who do they want to talk about, Greg? Who are their 3 favorite people? Remember them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Billionaires can't wait to tell you how great they are. You just got to ask them. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Kurt,
that's the secret.
You just bring so much knowledge and information and direction from so many places, Kurt, and so humble, and the character that you show is massive because you're surrounding yourself with the right people and you're laying the foundation for others to do the same. And I would I would encourage everybody out there, if Kurt is really sticking out to you and what he's putting down there, and this is just scratching the surface. Kurt, I mean, we could go on and on and on. We're almost at an hour here, which is longer for these episodes, mind you, but it's like a blink of an eye. No, Kurt, never apologize. This is constant information for people to consume. But what I would say is, if you like what Kurt's saying, you got to follow him on social platforms. You got to engage with this man because there's so much to learn and to grow. And Kurt, you've helped so many people. But I do want to really direct traffic. I want to make sure that if somebody does want to get a hold of you, Kurt, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you, to learn more from you, and potentially partner with you as well?
Wow. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I would love the opportunity to help anybody else that I can. It's funny, Greg, is, I'll give you a million ways to get a hold of me, but call me, please. No, when you're helping, the more people you help, and I learned this from a guy who's a real estate coach, John Chuplack. He's a life coach, real estate coach, all these things. One of the things he had said a long time ago, he said, if you start helping more people, the more people you're helping, the actual easier it is for you to help more people. And I know that sounds really weird, right? Busy people stay busy, right? We're never not going to be busy. The difference is, are you being productive in your busy time? Most people get busy doing busy work and they don't ever become productive. They get lost in the spin wheel, right? They're on the hamster wheel, just running, and they're never looking. Remember what I said about you can focus on one thing, but you got to pay attention, right? When you can pay attention and look as you're running on the hamster wheel, you're going to start having more success. And I help people understand what that means, because we all got in real estate because we want what? Freedom. That's everybody says. Number one answer. The truth is, you don't get freedom. You get flexibility with your time. The problem is, most of us are not great at managing our time. So when we're salespeople, right, we're on that sale, we're on our game, go, go, go. Problem that we have is we suck at our time management skills because we get caught up in these things. Me and you talking for 30 minutes and we're going on an hour, right? This is going to happen, right? This is what's going to happen. You ask me a question, I'm going to take you around the block twice to make sure you really understood each house on that street that we were at as we got there, right? And maybe it's more information than you needed, but that's just who I am, because I'm going to pour myself into what I do, because I want people to feel it. Remember, people won't remember everything you tell them, but they'll remember every way you made them feel. So you've got to make sure that you help people in a way that touches them. It matters to them. It's not about you. It's about them. Class number 1 on my boot camp. It's not about you. And no is your friend, right? Stop being afraid of no's. Get on the yes train, all that crap. No, bullshit. That's selling. Start helping, right? No is your friend, right? I can close everybody with the word no. It's really simple, right? Greg, would you rather keep looking in houses, or would you rather sleep in your favorite house? Would you like to keep looking, or would you like to sleep in your favorite house? Which one's better? Keep looking or no? Okay, no, I agree. I like how you're thinking. So would you like to pass on your favorite one and try to find something else? No. Is there any reason that we wouldn't buy your favorite home? No. You said you wanted this, this, and this. Now that we have all these things, is there any reason to keep looking for what we're looking for when we're standing in it? No, I agree with you. I like how you're thinking. Let's go ahead and get this written out. There's 80 different ways to close people with no. And no is a very safe word, because people like to say no because they feel they're in control. Right? I want you to be in control. This is your decision, not mine. Right? You asked me to show you this, this, and this. Have we gotten there? Yes. Okay, great. Now that we've gotten there, is there any reason that we wouldn't do this? No. Okay. Is there any reason you'd like to go see some more things that you don't want to buy? No. Would you like me if I kept showing you things that you wouldn't like? No. Would I be your friend if I wasted all your time? No. Great. Let's sit down and go ahead and get this. Is there any reason you wouldn't? No. Okay, great. Have a seat. Let's do this, right? So we can do this all day, but you've got to get people where they're comfortable, where they are. Remember, it's not about you, it's about them. Meet them where they are. We talk about this, meet them where they are. Right? So when we're talking about that, that's really the focus of what I want to make sure that people get and bring it to the table. And that's what's going to help them the most, is helping them where they are. So to get in contact with me, if you like more of this kind of stuff, this is the way I coach, I train, I teach. This is what we do. You can reach me on Facebook, right? Curtis Shewell. It is Curtis with the IS. So my name makes a question. Kurt is Shewell. You can reach me on Instagram. Instagram's probably the best, because you can message and do things on that way quickly and easily. You can get me on LinkedIn. I'm on every one of the social media platforms. Truth is, to swear straight up, right? 4.5 years ago, I did not have a Facebook. I did not have anything other than LinkedIn. The only social media I was on, right? So it was bad. Now I have webinars. Now I have YouTube channel, and now I have Facebook, and now I have Twitter thing, and I'm learning all this stuff, right? But I have all these things. So yeah, if you'd like to reach out to me, Curtis Shewell, you can reach me. You can find me on any of these platforms the same. I'd love to connect with you. If nothing else, we can become more friends. I'll share everything that I have, all the knowledge and everything I have. Doesn't cost you anything. I'll be happy to provide these things for you, help you out. One of the things that people get hung up on too, Greg, is, well, I don't want to have a script. Well, have you ever watched a movie you liked? Well, yeah. That actor, did you think that actor was that character? Oh yeah, that guy. Oh man, holy smokes, right? Did you believe that, Tom Hanks was Forrest Gump? Oh, absolutely, right? That's why that movie was so phenomenal. Did you believe he was Forrest, right? And people imitated how he spoke and the whole 9 yards, right? Well, shocking, but he was reading a script. Yeah. These weren't his words. That was a script, right? Well, you know the script and you know the objection handlers to the script. So that way, when you ask the right questions, you win. The problem is we all want to tell people everything. Stop telling, start asking. Tell them nothing, ask them everything. They'll give you the answers to the test. You want to close everybody? I'll teach you how to close everyone, right? Every single person. I even do a training call, which you're happy to put it out here.
Oh, yeah.
Call this call every morning. It's Eastern time. So Eastern time, if you're on the West Coast, it is early for you, but we do it at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, 7:30 to 8 o'clock, usually runs a few minutes over, 8:15. We're done. And we do a training call Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day. Friday's our podcast. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we do it 7:30 to 8 o'clock. It's a sales training for real estate. It's all role plays, scripts, objection handlers, how to overcome these things. We speak them out for real. It's a real conversation. We've got about 120 agents every day that are on this training call. You come on, when you call in, you just call, it's an Uber line. So you just call into it, you're on the call. Remember to mute your phone because we don't want to hear what you're doing in the mornings. Okay, right? And they can put out, it's 248-803-0656, 248-803-0656. If they call that number, you'll be on it. And on Thursdays, I challenge everybody on Thursdays. I got 3 coaches on there on Thursdays, myself and 2 others, that if you can give us an objection we can't handle, I'll give you $1,000.
Oh, Kurt, I love it. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and just sharing so much knowledge and understanding the industry and just pouring into everybody. And I'm going to put all those links in the show notes, and I would love for everybody to tune in and jump on one of those calls because you can learn so much from Kurt. It's not even funny. I know you have today already. So I want to say you're welcome for me connecting with Kurt and asking him to be on here. It's been an honor and pleasure. Kurt, I can't thank you enough, my friend. I do have to dub you an official real estate titan. That is an honor that you can carry forever, my friend. It's a badge of honor. There's no plaques or trophies, as I say, but you can carry it in your heart. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I can't thank you enough, Kurt. You nailed it. This was so great.
Well, hopefully we gave you a little bit. So thank you for your time, guys. Thank you guys for having me. The Real Estate Titans, you guys are the real deal. So I'm just honored to be part of this group, man. Thank you.
Kurt, you're a true titan, my friend. And again, I just want to thank everybody out there, as always, for your time and attention, your love and support. If you like hear what we're doing with Real Estate Titans, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe. You know what to do at this point. I do want to give our sponsor a quick shout out, Lion Bolt Media. If you are a real estate professional looking to grow and scale your business on the digital marketing side, really looking for exposure, lead generation, and ultimately conversion to more closed transactions, visit lionboltmedia.com. Now, we are live here every Tuesday afternoon, a different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans.
Reach out to Greg Fowler. This guy's the best, most genuine guy I've ever met right here.
Kurt, you're too kind. I love you, my friend. I appreciate you. Take care.
Thanks, guys.